What's up, everyone? I'm Charlie Shrem, and this is Untold Stories, where twice a week we dive deep with crypto's most influential leaders to find out how this movement truly came to be. This show is powered by Blockworks Group, a media company with over 20 podcasts in their network, including mine. Check them out at blockworksgroup.io. With that, today's awesome guest is Samantha Yap. She's the founder and CEO of Yap Global, your angle presented globally. She represents some of the biggest names and clients in the industry, and we went under the hood in the rocket ship to go over some cool details and some fun stories, including Bitmain, CoinDesk, MyEtherWallet, Diversify, Bitfinex. We talk about her history growing up all over Asia, and even she doesn't even know what her identity is because she's lived in so many different places, speaks so many different languages. What a great show, because whenever I learn something, whenever I come out of this show and there's like, oh, I didn't know that, or I'm learning something new, I always feel like it was a great show. And I try to make that happen for every show, because if I learn something and I'm laughing and I'm having a good time, then I know you're having a good time and you're laughing and you're learning something. So I'll talk to you guys right in a minute. Hey, everyone, I'm here with Samantha Yap. Samantha, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I record like a whole intro beforehand too. So I get into like, everyone's like, well, you didn't tell anyone about me. You just be like, hey, this is John. And I said, well, I'll do that after, before.
That's all right.
You have a crazy life story. While doing the research, you have from your education to where you worked and what you did pre-crypto, and then you got into crypto, and it's almost as if your life's work and the things that you've done and the experiences that you've had perfectly set you up for working in this space.
Yeah, I guess you can put it that way. In terms of, when I started Yap Global, people were asking, how much money did you put into your company? What did you invest in? And to be honest, I think I paid like £300 to put a website together. But really, what I really invested in was building my career, starting my career as a journalist, understanding how to tell stories. And then somehow I managed to fall into a short stint doing fintech PR that led me to crypto. And then now I am running a PR firm helping blockchain, cryptocurrency, and fintech companies tell their stories. So you articulated it quite well, Charlie.
Thank you. You say stories, right? And this is, Untold Stories. I feel like stories is very good and very bad. And let's kind of jump into it for a second here, because what I'm seeing happening and what I try to like avoid is I see narratives forming, and I see what companies and our projects are doing is they're starting to create narratives around the history of them, their coin, their token, things like that. And for better or for worse, how do we counteract that people taking our loving community and try to use it for the bad? You saw that with some of these tokens that spun off of Bitcoin and some of these coins. You see that was like being harnessed for evil in a way.
I think people can tell like, a genuine, story and a narrative from one that is bad. But like, I just want to like understand here, when you're saying like basically take advantage of the narrative, what are you trying to say? Like, what's an example of what you're referring to?
So for example, I get a lot of flack for this, but a lot of projects have launched their tokens off of saying that proof of work is bad for the environment. And so they're creating, whether or not that's true, then they launch proof of stake and they say, this is Bitcoin 2.0 or whatever. This is Ethereum 3.0 or whatever.
Right.
So creating narratives and based on like false data or your opinion, taking that data, because at the end of the day, you have people that come to you. What type of stories do they want to tell? What are they trying? Do they need help writing their story, or are they more looking for getting it out there?
Yeah. So like, let me, take a step back and touch on, say projects that are trying to, I guess, like spin may not be a good word, but like, yeah, spin a narrative out of what they're trying to do, and maybe what they're trying to do is like unethical. And I think that's where, journal, like, because we are PR and we work a lot with journalists, and we're having that basic understanding of how journalism works comes in, because amazing a story could be, and how you can craft an amazing narrative. But at the end of the day, journalists are going to see past that. So one of our missions is to build a bridge between quality journalism and emerging technology startups. So when we work with companies, we obviously do our due diligence and make sure that, at the surface level, what like is this team? Who are they? Are they good actors? That's the first point, I guess.
Yeah.
And then secondly, what are they trying to do? And is what they're trying to do really adding value to the industry? That's what will attract us to working with a project. And then we help them tell a story. So we want to represent meaningful, companies and startups that are making a difference. With touching on kind of the bad actors who are like launching tokens and kind of take advantage of
you look at like Hexcoin, for example, and there are a lot of these plus token in China, and a lot of these, they create narrative. What they did was, in those communities, is that they used PR firms that were like, didn't know better. And, one of your jobs is kind of being that company to represent the good clients, right? And to weed out the bad ones. But they created these narratives and stories that were based on false information. So Plus Token was a perfect example of how many people fell victim to that Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, I'm not aware of Plus Token, but what I would say is, did it, because that's the purpose, and that's why we need strong media publications, editorially sound media publications in this space, to kind of be like that fourth estate, which is what like journalism and the media is. So that's like your CoinDesk, the Block, Decrypt Media at the moment, Cointelegraph. There's the editorial side of Cointelegraph, which is one part of it. I won't go into that.
I read 2 articles you wrote for Cointelegraph.
Yeah. So it's kind of about the media narrative on that. And so I'm just wondering, if, because I'm not sure actually about this, but if CoinDesk covered Plus Token, I am sure, and I have a lot of trust in the journalists that they will do their digging, they will do their investigation and really work out like what it is. And yeah, I guess in terms of perhaps these companies had their own PR firms, I guess.
Well, so that's a good point that you're making.
Yeah.
That's a good point that you're making. At what point did crypto PR turn from just reporting on the industry to more investigative journalism? Did you see that transition? Because the Block would have never existed a few years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely there is a need, because you're hearing of a lot of scams and hacks, and I think that's this industry does need quality journalism and then next level investigative journalism to keep it in check. Because for those of us who really are passionate about watching this space grow, we need to make sure that it's growing sustainably. We can't just be shouting about ourselves and then promoting these Ponzi schemes, which is irresponsible. We want kind of the rest of the world to take the cryptocurrency space seriously. And that's why we need good journalism. And then us as a PR firm, I know there's a lot of interesting marketing PR firms in the space, but we genuinely want to be that filter for the journalists as well, because we know that the media get a lot of pitches a day. So we're here kind of making sure that our clients are getting heard and talked about. And a lot of that comes with, telling a good story, but one that is newsworthy and that is relevant for today.
Who are some of your first clients? Do you have any fun stories of the first time that you had to do something in the space, and you were just tell us some stories. People love stories. That's why they listen to the show.
Well, so I actually got it's basically a failed company, but an ICO obviously was my first client. They were trying to be like the Airbnb on the blockchain, so they're trying to like
I feel like an
share quality
ICO is
home.
everyone's first client.
Yeah,
And
I
myself
mean, I
too.
got in late 2017, and then I went to an Ethereum London meetup, and I basically was really impressed with so Biddy, which was a Swiss brokerage firm at the time. Was really impressed with their CEO's kind of like talk about crypto regulation. His name was Alexei Roussel, and so he was kind of my second client. And then interestingly, he had introduced me to MyEtherWallet. So
That worked out.
MyEtherWallet was one of my clients as well at the time. And yeah, that was really interesting because a year before, the first ETH that I got, I was told to put it on MyEtherWallet. And then in just a short year, I was like, oh, I'm meeting the team. And so that was interesting. And
I love when that happens. And that's such a really cool thing about the industry. Because some of the sponsors on this show, well, actually, yeah, all the sponsors on the show are products that I used before they were sponsors. So like BitPay, for example, I've been using BitPay to do the first transaction. I used BitPay back in 2013 when I owned a nightclub in New York, and we did the first transaction like in a physical place ever. And actually, funny story, a side story to that one was the woman who did that transaction, who worked at the nightclub, is my wife today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it all came out together. It all came together. There's an old...
Oh, wow.
We met there. There's an old newspaper article of you see her like doing the transaction, and then we just because of that we met and we started talking, and we started dating, and that was 8 years ago or whatever, and we married. We're married 3 years.
Thanks to crypto.
Yeah, so she's like a crypto OG big time because she's been in the space for a super long time. So we'll be sitting at it's funny, we'll be sitting at like an investor dinner or a VC dinner or something where you have like the big head people in the space or whatever. And Courtney knows everybody, and everybody knows Courtney. Especially if they've been in the space a very long time. And like, if we met in real life and I saw you at a conference, you'd meet her, and everyone knows her. So we were sitting at a thing, and, some people who are new don't realize that she's my wife or she's been in the space. So if they're sitting next to her, they try to explain things to her in real time, like mansplaining or whatever.
Oh, that's really awkward.
So it's funny because it's like, she'll be sitting there and someone will be like, yeah. And Barry Silbert, and the guy will be like, and Barry is the guy who owns, and she's like, I literally know Barry longer than, like, it's just funny. It's
wow.
Just,
yeah. But I guess, it's interesting how it sounds like your wife has been around for ages, but yet still at events get mansplained.
Well, so, I think that's like a larger problem in the world, not just with crypto, but that's another topic that I'm sure everyone talks about all the time. But let's kind of go into that with the industry. Do you get clients? I mean, so you're working with like Bitmain, MyEtherWallet, Diversify. These are all, what's great is that these are all people that I've actually had on this show. And these are some big people. I mean, you're talking about CoinDesk, Bitmain, Bitfinex. These are some big clients that you've landed yourself and that you work with. How do you convince them to work with you? What is your team like? What sets you apart? Because it seems like this story mechanism. That's why, like, when you email me about a specific guest, usually it's like works out because the guest aligns with my show. How did you get to that point?
Yeah. So a lot of what, the style of how we operate is we like to say we tell stories like journalists. Because ultimately, if you want to get your project, or if you just want to get, an article out or a launch out, you need to write like a good piece of journalism, basically, because that's going to, increase the chances of you getting picked up. And obviously, you want to add value to the conversation. So when we pitch our clients, we actually, with our proposals, we do a bit of work. So we actually will, take, say, an example announcement, or if they have a story that they want to push out, we will actually build the narrative for them to see if they're comfortable with the way we're telling the story. Because there's so many ways you can craft a story, but you want to, with a PR firm, you want to find a partner that you can trust to get your message across in a way that you're comfortable with, and not I guess twisting kind of what you're trying to do. So we actually help like diversify. So I know you recently spoke to Will, spin off from Bitfinex. They were Ethernex before. So we were the team that helped them rebrand.
Diversify is like the best name. I told Will that actually, because it sounds diversified, DeFi, it just works.
And it really like fits I guess this year has been like DeFi has really taken off, and it really fits the kind of just where the space is heading, and it's a great name. But that's credit to Will and the team. I didn't come up with the name, but it was also just kind of like rebranding, right? Like we were discussing, we wanted to like position it as like a spin-off from Bitfinex, and it like doing a lot of that brand positioning beforehand was very critical before like launching the new spin-off.
Oh, I see your point. Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time with the founders to discuss kind of like how do you want to explain who they are. Basically you want to get all those in order so that when you do go live, it makes sense, and then the brand just carries itself over time as journalists and the media come to learn more about what they do and who they are.
What are some favorite publications in the space? I don't know if you should call some out here, but which ones do you think are kind of leading in the right direction that you prefer to work with? I don't know if you want to burn bridges now. They're going to listen to the show. They're going to be like, what?
Well, so I call it like the like crypto, like top tiers, right? And so that's definitely the top tiers are definitely like CoinDesk, The Block.
But CoinDesk is now research now. They're not really journalism anymore.
They have a journal, like they have a they have a lot of people, and they have been hiring like new journalists as well. Like I'm
very close with them. I like them a lot.
Yeah,
I liked them better when they were journalism, but I still like them now.
Well, they do. I think they do have a research section. I think they have a couple of newsletters, but then they do have an editorial team that does, write the day-to-day news. And I'm sure you see the new format, bullet points. I don't know what you think about them. I mean,
that's honestly, the bullet points is the best feature because most people are not reading the article at the end of the day, and if they are, you're looking for the specific, like, give me the meat of the situation here.
Yeah.
So the bullet points was great.
And this is where, like, I really have a lot of admiration for crypto journalists, because I think that bullet point kind of format maybe works well because there's so much happening. Like, there's so much happening in the DeFi space, let alone like the broader crypto industry. And, you want to be able to cover kind of like the top, news, and companies will put out announcements daily. So I think it's a good way to like capture a lot more of what's happening. But then, it shouldn't be substitute for the articles that delve deeper into a project. So still need some of that, but maybe the journalist could take a bit more time to write a piece on that and not like have to churn it out in an hour or something.
I'd love to see journalists give more disclosure. So if they're writing an article about a specific coin or token, just simply say if you own any of it. Just the simple fact of that. It's okay if you do, like, you know what I mean? Like I'll say what I own. I do actually in some of my newsletters and companies and stuff that I write. I talk about my portfolios. I've been doing it for years. And so I'd love to see that more happen, more transparency and disclosure.
Yeah, I definitely think they already do that. So if you just like go on CoinDesk and you kind of like look through the like reporters.
Most of the time, but it's only investment in companies.
Yeah. Well, I think some like, I hold like some ETH or like $100 worth of ETH and $100 of Bitcoin. I'm not going to say who, but I spoke to someone in like I speak to CoinDesk reporters daily, but they said that they have to declare to their editors if they want to buy a token.
Yeah.
So I hope that system's in place.
And it seems like that's changing. And it's like, I feel like what has happened was over time, we've become very self-regulatory, not because we believe in these things or not. That's another conversation. But I think it's because in the fear of being regulated badly, we've decided to regulate ourselves, whether how we do it is good or bad. So it's nice to see like a lot of that stuff. You have your finger on the pulse, especially in Asia. Where did you go to school? Where did you live? Like, I was trying to do the research, and it seems like you went to school and lived in like 6 different countries.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I'm actually Malaysian, like born, but when I was 4, I grew up in Indonesia, and then migrated to Australia. So my childhood was spent in those 3 different countries. So I am very confused with my identity. I call myself a global citizen whenever
Are you
everyone asks
Malay?
me where I'm from.
Yeah, what do you identify
No,
with?
I'm actually Chinese. So great-grandparents come from Guangzhou, China. But yeah, anyway, I grew up in Indonesia, and then I feel like I'm Indonesian, but I'm really not by nationality or anything. And then I, was Australia. Like I grew up in Australia and studied journalism at Monash University in Australia. I'm not sure whether it's a known university,
No,
but it's
I
well
don't know
known
it.
in Melbourne. Yeah, it's
But I
fine.
don't think you know about Brooklyn College either, so don't worry.
Well, yeah, but and then my dream when I was studying journalism was to be a foreign correspondent. Like, to be honest, I never thought I would be in crypto. I guess crypto didn't exist. Like,
You are a foreign car. Well, so you want to like be on TV and like in the BBC or something, and like with the hurricane coming, I'm in the typhoon somewhere, and
that was my dream. Like, I wanted to be like in this,
cool.
like in the middle of tsunami and like reporting, but that didn't happen. Although I tried. So then that's why I moved to Singapore. Worked for Channel News Asia for a bit. I did some documentaries. I did, uh, I produced programs, and then. And then I think I tried to do the freelance journalism thing in Indonesia again. And then, for some reason, I fell into fintech PR and then crypto. Either I found crypto or crypto found me. And then here I am. To be honest, I started this accidentally. I never thought I would start a company.
There's no question that crypto and gaming have gone hand in hand since the early days of Bitcoin when it first launched. And in fact, that's what really drove mass adoption. Companies like BitCasino, which is the first ever licensed Bitcoin casino, and brands like sportsbet.io. I mean, it's the reason people are using crypto and Bitcoin today. Fun, fast, and fair. When you're using blockchain-based gaming, make sure you require that they are fair, because there's no reason that they shouldn't be transparent, because everything can be seen on the blockchain. Coin gaming is so cool. It's an ecosystem of brands, products, and people that are serious not just about shaking up the gaming industry, but also the crypto industry. These guys have been around since the early days of Bitcoin. The CEO of Coin Gaming used to actually mine for Bitcoin and use the Bitcoin miner to heat his home in Estonia. I mean, those go down to like negative 25 degrees. So if you're cool about driving crypto awareness together, if you got a question or you just want to connect with their team of like dreamers and doers, the whole community, make sure you check them out. Coingaming.io, play some of their games, sportsbet.io or BitCasino. Fun, fast, and fair. I'm Charlie Shrem. I'll talk to you guys right in a minute. So you talk about like fintech PR, and I know and then crypto PR, it's very different because fintech PR, the audience is kind of known who we're going after.
Yes.
Who is the audience? Do you have to ask the client like who it, PR, public relations, who is the public that you guys are looking for? Do you have to ask that question?
Yes, we do, because when we talk to clients, we got to go, okay, what are your business objectives? So for some projects, it's like, we want more developers. We want developers to like build on our platform. So getting them on, so they want crypto developers, right? So getting them on like, BBC would not make sense, because I don't know, crypto developers, yeah, maybe they read BBC, but it's not like that would be the first place they go to learn about the next kind of like platform to build on, right? So there's that. So that actually impacts the strategy for what we do for that company. But then you get we work with, say, we have a custody provider called First Digital Trust, and they are targeting kind of high net worth individuals and institutions that want to, like basically, build a portfolio of digital assets.
Yeah.
And so then we're looking at, trying to get them on Bloomberg, trying to get them on traditional financial publications. So that's another different audience. So yeah, we have to kind of figure that out. And, for example, with diversified, they want the traders. Yeah. So what publications do we target to that traders read?
Where do they read? What do they read? Tell us some details. I'm curious.
Well, so that's another thing. So it depends on which traders. So if you're a decentralized exchange today, I guess the target audience would be cryptocurrency traders. And, that's the ones who are already crypto savvy.
So you'd be advertising on like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap or something like that.
Yeah, but advertising is not PR. So PR is still aiming for getting them coverage in like CoinDesk or The Block or Decrypt, and just sharing about the new features on that platform, because I think that's. And then if you notice that these articles, they do get shared within forums on I guess Discord now, and I guess many people are on Reddit. I'm not really on Reddit, but when those articles get shared, it kind of signals and it shows that, there are these new features for traders. But yeah, that's an interesting one, because we also have to understand, we could go to NASDAQ, but will there be savvy crypto traders that will understand how to trade on a DEX? Maybe, but that would be a hard sell. We would still aim for that, because obviously we want a bridge. But I think right now, decentralized trading is quite
popular.
I would say it's popular, but it's popular among the crypto savvy. I don't know. I think
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Uniswap has 57,000 registered. I read this morning 57,000 registered users. That's not really a lot, though, if you think about it.
Yep.
Globally.
Yeah, because I think that there's still that gap, right? Of
more people have coronavirus in Florida than that. So I mean,
when you put it that way.
Yeah, it's not a lot of people. If 57,000 people globally to do, but look at the numbers. I mean, people don't realize crypto. I posted a chart last week and I said, we're still at the innovator stage, not even early adopter stage. And I get yelled at all the time. You're leading people on. And I say, I'm not. We're not even 10 years in this thing.
Yeah.
We don't even know what we're doing. We're still trading on places like Uniswap,
Yeah. And Uniswap's quite easy to use.
It is. It's great, by the way.
But,
it really is.
But the thing is, okay, I don't know if you have a lot of, think of the closest friend you have that doesn't know crypto.
Did you just say you don't think if I have a lot of friends?
No, a lot of friends. I don't know.
I'm just teasing.
I meant outside of crypto, because it seems
you should know I have 3 friends. 2 are good. 1's on the fence. No. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Because I'm if I tell my friend okay, you can earn ETH and you can buy this token now that's rising. I don't give investment advice. I think the first thing would be some people still don't know how to use crypto wallets. They still don't understand how to get ETH.
Well, I'll give you an example. Just the other day, I trade ETH and everything else, but I use certain hardware wallets or whatever wallets I use. There's millions of wallets. Just the other day, I was trying to use Uniswap, and you need to use MetaMask. I don't use MetaMask. So there's a perfect example. Here I've been in the space for...
Exactly. And then it's do you use MetaMask? Do you use MyEtherWallet? Or do you so buy
this comes down to... I think what you're trying to say is everything is still very experimental. And so the products and services that are being built are still being built for the people, the men and women that are in the industry right now. So the public and the audience that you're going out for, that you're going after are current in the box, right? In the box of crypto, right? To put it all into one basket. But what happens when you have clients who not just want to convince people to use their company or their service, but want to go out and gospelize a word to preach the gospel of crypto or Bitcoin or a token, or you know what I mean? Like it's like the next step, the next level, that the evangelizing on that. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the space we're in, right? We're basically the bridge between the again emerging technology space, the emerging crypto space, and then like kind of the mainstream and just journalism in general. And actually touching on, I didn't touch on my team, but basically we're a tight team of 5 at the moment, and I've got a team around the world, like two in Melbourne, 1 in Berlin, and 1 moving to Paris. And some of my come from creative agency backgrounds, so they actually are not like crypto natives. And I guess I wouldn't call myself a crypto native either. I'm not a developer. I'm not like, I don't understand cryptography like fully. I'm not very techy. But we're still able to understand like what these complex projects are trying to do, and then communicate it. And I think where we sit is like the best place to be, because like these companies need a translator in a way, and that's what we are.
Yeah, well, that's what it is.
Yeah,
because
to translate. Yeah,
they need to translate the content. So even the words that you're using, So tell me more about some of your other clients. It's curious because usually I don't want people to shill their stuff, but this is interesting because you can give us some intimate knowledge and background.
So, I mean, right now, I guess a really cool project that was getting a lot of attention is Band Protocol. So they're a data oracle, kind of a rival to Chainlink. So they, I guess when we've worked with them to explain what data oracles are, we like to talk about the trust that DeFi needs, because early this year, there were a couple of stories of like, even during the Black Thursday event, when the ETH network kind of like slowed down, and I think, I'm not sure of numbers, but there was like, I think 5 million DAI that got lost. Correct me if I'm wrong. But funds, there've been a few DeFi network kind of vulnerabilities that have led to losses in funds.
Yeah, recently it's been happening a lot.
Yeah, then with the whole flash loans thing, there were also losses, and the reason is because I guess the price updates are not like as fast, and so that's why you need like data oracles in the space now to build that trust. And so that's kind of what Band Protocol, is. They're a data oracle. I think you need many. But yeah, building that narrative and kind of getting them heard, and they're doing really well right now, has been quite exciting and fun for us as well. And what's really cool is they're like a Thai-based team. I think there's not a lot of coverage on Asia-based projects, so it's pretty cool to see this team. Very globally.
Are you getting a lot? Do you get more Asian, European clients or American?
I think it's been global, really, because crypto's so global. Like, I worked with clients from Switzerland to New York to Thailand and Hong Kong. Really, it's quite global, and that's the fun part of this industry. And the way I meet my clients is, it could either just be like online through like, introductions, or conferences, which I miss a lot because we can't really go to conferences now.
I do miss conferences. In fact,
I know.
I'm trying to convince my friend who runs Bitcoin Miami to, it's the longest running Bitcoin conference, crypto conference right now, the longest and oldest in Miami. It goes every year. And I'm trying to convince him to announce a date in like January that he usually does, So, cause I think by January, Florida will be, even Florida now, like I was just reading an article before the show. I was reading an article before the show that the top travel destination in the United States right now is Florida, because people can't leave the country really. So you're seeing huge, that's what I think, but who knows? So I hope you'll see conferences go,
But hopefully those travel numbers don't bring like COVID along with it. But
I'm really surprised you don't see more mandatory testing at every airport. Like no matter where you're, if you're going through an airport or a train, it should be like test, like, I don't know, just like a test, like when you go through security, you know what I mean? Just so my friend just landed in France this morning and he sent me a picture and he said like, it doesn't make any sense. They huddle everyone together. Everyone's wearing masks, but everyone's huddled together from all different countries and customs, and there's no.
Yeah, it's quite funny because I made a trip to see family in Sweden. My husband's from Sweden, and then we came back to the UK, and we were just able to walk through the gates. Like I thought there was going to be some like temperature check at least, but we just walked through. And what was really weird was we then, 2 weeks later, were able to go out and go to a restaurant for the first time in like 4 months. I went to a Korean restaurant, and I love like Korea.
I miss Korean barbecue.
Hygienic, and it was so good. And they like took my temperature, and I'm like, wow, like this Korean restaurant has taken my temperature, and the UK government never did for me. Like they're more like cautious than
everyone has the temperature checks now, and it's like we joke around town. It's the zombie checker to see if you're like a zombie.
Right.
So it's like you want to go into the gym. Like this morning, I had to get checked, and then I go into the little grocery store here. I have to wait outside because it's a small one, so only one person at a time. She checks. It really depends where you are and the types of people. We were talking about coronavirus earlier. I live in a place, luckily, where people are used to like thinking for themselves and very untrusting of the media already. So it's like a lot of that.
And then I won't get into it, but the no mask debate is very contentious.
It's about compliance. Whether or not the conversation of a mask exists or not, at the end of the day, I just sneezed, right? If I had coronavirus, God forbid, and I sneezed and someone was right there, they would have it now, right?
Yeah.
Everyone who argues against masks, this literally would have prevented that from happening. Yes, it's a cloth. It's a cloth.
Yeah,
I know.
That's true.
But if I sneeze on you and now I can't sneeze on you, you're telling me that we shouldn't do that. Like, that's pretty great. Like, I don't want people sneezing on me at all. In fact, after this is over, I'll probably still wear this on a plane. This is comfortable.
Yeah.
I put it around my neck. And
of course.
So, because I'm like a germaphobe. They should make everyone in prison wear masks because I got so sick in jail. Still dealing with that till today.
Yeah. No, you've got a really interesting story, Charlie. I was reading up a lot on what.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Actually, just before this, I read your kind of interview for the CoinDesk year in review that you did in December.
I should go back and see what I said.
Well, the one thing I picked out was about like how there's a lot of young people in this industry. And I think the question was like, how do you find those child prodigies? But you're just like, you were saying like, actually, it's about finding the right CEOs, it's like the right fit to be a CEO of early stage companies right now. And I think, that was a really good point because I think, while there's a lot of bright, young people in this industry, they do need that knowledge of how to like grow it sustainably. And
so that's what kind of happened in the early days was there were a lot of people who were really bright and are really bright and really smart and saw the future and saw the vision. But the reason all of us weren't working jobs was because we're either younger kids or just kind of like the misfits or the outskirts or, a lot of the units, like I don't want to name names, but the CEOs of some of the largest companies, I jokingly wanted to do, you should do this. We should do this. I want to do like a video. What did you do before crypto? And just do a video of like what you did before. And you'd be very surprised. Some crypto CEOs today, there's like actually, here I can give him the COO of Chain Analysis today, huge company, Chain Analysis. But just 2014, he was getting free tickets to conferences because he couldn't afford to go to them. The London one, for example, Bitcoin London that I spoke at in 2014, he got a ticket for free because it was like $1,000. He got a ticket for free just because he promised to live tweet it. And he didn't have a job back then. This is a guy who's running an executive of a company now who literally is on the front lines talking to governments every single day. So, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, it's really cool, like to see like these young, founders like really grow businesses. Because I always say, like, with Yap Global, I feel like, I mean, for me, I didn't have any prior experience to running a company. Although I'm small business, I'm just learning every day. And I always joke, like, I feel like I've been in real life business school, because it really is. Like,
Yeah,
I guess I don't need to do MBA anymore.
Will you go back? There's almost like no point. Like, I always thought about doing that, or, maybe getting my doctorate just so people have to call me doctor or whatever. But
yeah.
Who knows?
Well, yeah, because it's like, what's the point of it now? I mean, the only thing I would see an MBA would help is maybe like networking, but that's kind of already happening in crypto with going to these conferences. I mean, I love that I get to meet so many different people, and
someone should.
It's crazy how I get my clients.
So now that like schools are all like remote now, how cool would it be if you can custom create your own, like, not degree, but like, I would love to sign up to a lot of different classes from I want to take business at Harvard online. I want to take political science at George Washington in DC. You know what I mean? I don't want to get my degree. I just want to learn. That would be really cool if someone created a way that you can like pick and choose credits from different schools or whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool. And yeah, I guess the only reason why I would do it as well is to, I guess, learn kind of the theory side of things, or even just with like business management. I think it's good to kind of sometimes take a break and take a step back to understand what you're really doing. It's something I am thinking about, but I'm learning so much already. It's like just trying to like scale this business and keep it going.
Well, the good thing, have you noticed that in our industry, like if we go back to March when this coronavirus really started, our industry has grown. It's like more jobs have been added. It's like the opposite of the rest of the world.
Yeah, actually, one of the points, I make when I speak to people about this space is, when the global lockdown happened, I think the crypto industry has been able to thrive, to be honest, because the like companies in the space have been decentralized from the beginning. So all this like working from home and like getting used to using like Zoom and like Google Hangouts, like
we were already like good.
Yeah, we were like good in this space, and then like having to, create chat groups and stuff. Like we have Telegram, we have WhatsApp.
One of our largest companies, like, Binance, runs their whole company off of chat rooms.
Yes,
They asked me not to say which one.
No, I mean, I remember CZ saying like Binance is decentralized.
It is fully decentralized. I work very closely with them. They're great people with all their different departments, because they have a lot of different departments. They are so decentralized, but they act efficiently. And I think because they created this healthy competition within the company itself, where they all want to be, it's like they're competing with each other, but in a healthy way. I can't explain it, without fear of losing their job,
But that's the beauty of like Telegram. Like you could have a chat group that's like a department within a company. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what it is. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, like literally like Telegram run companies. That is crypto in general, because we work with a lot of like our clients when they partner with people. It's like, okay, new partnership, create a new Telegram group. All right, let's just like work on this efficiently. And actually just having a global team, in a way, as a PR firm, we're able to say that we can give 24/7 coverage, because when I'm in bed, my Australian, colleague
can be doing his or her work. Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah, but also can like, if there needs to be a little bit of a handover and they need to run with a story, I can just hand it to them, and we're like we're set. And then then you get there are people who don't sleep, so they'll just ping you whenever. So fine, but then at least I have a team member that can pick it up when I'm in bed.
And for like emergencies or whatever, if there was ever emergencies. Well, Samantha, thank you so much for coming on the show today and taking the time out. Sounds like you got a whole 24 operation, a lot of people, a lot of different clients and everything. Thank you for being the on the front lines on the public perception of our industry and making sure that I have a job every day. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun, Charlie.